Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be listening to this. Again, if you've been on one of my webinars and or listened to any of my YouTube channels, you know my name is Laurie McNaughton, and I am your Scale Up Business Coach. And I've created this webinar to create another level of understanding, another level of clarity around what needs to take your business from fundamentally you're working a lot of hours, you got an okay team, but seem to be lacking accountability and the profitability isn't where you need it to be in order for you to scale up your business. So I created this as part of my scale up performance business system. Sorry, let me get this out of the way. And I call this presentation your strategic business success blueprint. So without further ado, let's move on. Why would you listen to anything that I have to say? Well, let's just start at the top here. 16 years with the number one business coaching company in the world. I was a multiple time award-winning top 10% coach. They gave out awards and measured success based on a couple of key metrics, which is growth in your business coaching practice as well as retention of clients. For me, I'm not proud that I was able to achieve the goals that I did in terms of growth, but I'm more proud of the fact that I had a high retention rate because that basically speaks to the success that you get with your clients. And I always tell people when they're signing up with me that your success is my success. And so I'm going to do everything I can do to push you, cajole you, make you laugh, build relationships with you so that you get to where you want to be and you get there faster, quicker, and with a lot less stress. So I've got over 2 decades working with business owners like yourselves and working with teams as well. And I went to Tony Robbins Mastery University, which was Life Mastery, Date with Destiny, and Financial Mastery. I also took a Power to Influence course here in Edmonton, and then I went to Vancouver for Unlimited Power Weekend. And for any of you those know what Tony's sort of famous for is his firewalk. So yes, I did do the firewalk. In fact, I did it twice. I also went to Context and Associates Pursuit of Excellence, the Wall and Advancement of Excellence. Here's the thing I would say. I don't know whether they're in your town or your city or not. If they are, I would highly recommend that you participate in it and send some of your key people on your team to it because it is literally a life-altering, life-changing program. And now it goes, at least it did. I don't know what it does now, but Thursday night, Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. But I can tell you that you will leave Sunday a changed person for the better. Sorry, I'm just making sure that there's not any more stragglers coming in. So Pacific Institute Investment in Excellence, also Peak Potentials, Train the Trainer 1 and 2, and Ultimate Leadership Camp, which was an amazing event. We went literally till late at night and we're up early in the day doing all kinds of out of your comfort zone activities designed to get you comfortable with being really uncomfortable. Anyway, awesome course. 7 years as a Toastmaster, and I also took continuing education at our local universities here in Edmonton. And so why is this important? Because you can't tell me that it can't be done. Because here's the thing. I've come from a place where I'm going to be straight up with you here. I came from a place where if I would have been hired by you as a young man, so, when I was up to 25, 26 years old, somewhere in there, I would have been a terrible employee. I had all kinds of issues. I'm not going to get into those deeply, but alcohol was a constant companion of mine. And but I woke up one day and I said to myself, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to find something good. So I immediately moved out of the town that I grew up in to Edmonton. I got a great job and became a great employee. And then I moved from there because of the economy at the time was very weak. And so some of us got laid off. I went to work for a company out of Red Deer doing outside sales, became one of their top salespeople. And then I moved on to another company here in Edmonton in outside sales for lubricants and became one of their top salespeople as well. And then in 2004, 2003, I guess, I was looking for something to do on my own. I wanted to do something. And because of all of the training that I listed here, this was something that I really wanted to try on my own. And so I went to a business expo, came across this company uh, that did business coaching, and their vision was world abundance through business re-education. And they had, I think, at 12, maybe 14 points of culture at that time. I think they had 12, and then went up to 14 after I joined. But things like cooperation, learning, honesty, integrity, teamwork, just a list of things that just brought me back to all of the training that I had taken. And I thought this is where I could go and flourish. And here's the thing, I've been calling on small businesses for 15 years now on the road, and I saw a lot of people come and go. And they mostly left not because they necessarily um, weren't doing okay financially. I want to say they weren't doing great, but they were doing okay financially, but they just burned out because they could never figure out how to leverage themselves enough to make enough money so that they could step back and get some time away from the business. So when I came across this, I knew this was a great fit for me. I knew there was a market for it because I saw so many businesses that struggled, business owners that were really stressed out, anxious, and just burned out from the work. And so I knew there was a place for that. So I decided this is where I want to go. And that's where my career has been since 2004. Yeah, 2004. So big change. Here's the thing. Small change, you can't have small change. Tony Robbins talks about massive action. You can't take little action because if you take little action, you get nothing. If you take medium action, you get very little. You take massive action, everything changes. And so I was looking at this and I wanted to create something that I could be really, really proud of. And so I came up with this vision to create a world where every individual and business thrives, making the world a better place for all. I want your business to make more money than you know what to do with. I want you to have a team of people that you can rely on and count on who take ownership and they're accountable and they make life easy for you. So how am I going to do that? That's my mission statement: to make personal and professional development accessible and affordable for everyone, empowering individuals and businesses to unlock their full potential, because their full potential is in their people. Their full potential is in their vision and their mission for their company. So what can you expect to get out of our time here today? A lot of BFOs, which are blinding flashes of the obvious. But here's the thing. And here's a really important message: is that don't get stuck in the I know of things, because you read it, or because you saw it on a podcast, or because you talked to somebody over a cup of coffee, or because you went to a conference, or saw it on a webinar, but you're not doing it. That's not enough. You've got to do it. That's how you learn, and that's how change actually happens. It doesn't come from knowing things, it comes from doing things. So I wanted to just quickly cover off why so many businesses struggle to scale up. And the first one is that you focus too much on revenue and not enough on profit. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. You've got to focus in on making profit. If you're at $500,000, you're looking to get to seven figures, or you're at $1 million, you're looking to get to 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever that number is for you. Make sure that you focus in on profit, because there's a lot of companies that had a lot of revenue, but they still went out of business because they had no profit. So a healthy profit margin is somewhere between 8 and 15%. You want to be at the high end of that, because you're going to be the kind of company that provides massive value for your customers and your clients. And people will pay more for value. Don't sell on price, sell on value. Okay, so let's keep moving along. I could talk all day just about that one slide. So your operations won't scale. So you don't have systems and processes. Here's the thing. A business is a bunch of systems and processes that are run by people. If you don't have systems and processes, then people are going to be doing things based on how they think they should be doing them, which is not going to work in the long term. It might work if you're a small business with 2 or 3 employees where you can be on top of things all the time. But as soon as you expand to a certain size and you get a number of employees, if you don't have systems and processes, you cannot scale up. So you don't invest in hiring the right people. Here's the thing. Create a system that weeds out as the farmers would say, the wheat from the chaff. There's like I look at it, and if you read the book Who by Jeff Smart, he talks about A employees. A employees are people who have hopes, dreams, desires, and goals that they want to accomplish. You have to become the kind of employer that attracts those people, because those people are going to help you grow your business. They may be there for 5 years. They may be there for 10. They may be there for 20. They may be there for a short period of time, but they're going to help you grow your business versus, I remember a lesson saying, you get the people that you deserve. And some people would say, well, why would I invest in people? Why do I invest in getting good people when they just leave and go someplace else? Well, because you could not invest in those good people and they could stay. I say that with my tongue firmly planted in my cheek because it's so important. If you got a bunch of, let's use the term dud employees, you're not going to succeed. Simple as that. So you got to invest in a system. And I have a great system that I can help you implement into your business should you desire to do some work with us. So you lack strategic partnerships. Listen, a strategic partnership is any company that serves the same customer as you do, but they don't compete with you. So, auto dealerships could also be the same customers that high-end restaurants, or any restaurant for that matter, but look at, depending on what kind of a car dealership you are, would depend on the kind of restaurant that you maybe want to build a strategic partnership with. Because they both have, in fact, that's probably a point in distinction in there, is like if you're selling used lower end cars, you're going to have a strategic partnership with a different restaurant than if you're selling Mercedes or you're selling Lincolns or Cadillacs or whatever the case may be. So you lack strategic partnerships. You need to get strategic partnerships. You are reactive versus proactive. That means you're a firefighter instead of somebody who makes sure that fires don't start. And I go back to number 2, which is your systems won't scale. Your operations won't scale because you don't have systems. You create systems so that people can follow those systems, which is a proactive activity towards building a successful, profitable business. And you fear raising your prices. I read something recently. I don't know how accurate it is, but I will say there's a certain amount of accuracy to it. It said that 86% of people will pay more for value. 86% will pay more if they're going to get value for that. And if you think, let's say you got 3 competitors, you're all roofing companies. These 2 guys, here's your quote. And it's whatever. Let's just say it's $2,500. I don't know, or 5,000, whatever that number is. Let's pick 5,000 because I'm going to need that number. And then you come there and you show them all the value that you add, but you charge $5,500. It's only $500 more. They will pay that all the time for more value, but you got to be able to show how you add that value to your customers. And you don't have an exit strategy. So that's another reason why your business won't scale, because you don't really understand that at some point you're going to exit this business. Now, you want to exit this business with a track record of good profitability and this business running when you're not, and doing really well when you're not there. So you're able to take vacations, you're able to take weekends off, you're going home for dinner every night. That's what makes a business valuable to somebody who is either an investor or, if you're going to sell that to somebody inside your team. If they know that they can buy this, and they're going to have a business that kicks out a certain amount of profit every year, that makes it more valuable to investors. It doesn't make it more valuable to those people who buy, build, and sell necessarily, because people who buy, build, and sell usually look for a company that does okay, and then they lowball price, and then they come in and put the systems and processes together, and then they turn around and sell the company at a profit. So the bottleneck trap. So you built this business that you have with passion, but you know what? Now you've turned into the bottleneck because nobody does anything without talking to you first. If people are always calling you to say, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? How do I do? You are the bottleneck, and your team is always going to struggle unless they can contact you. But now you don't have any time to do anything but answer and put out fires. So all these systems, they live just in your head, and your hours keep growing, but your profits stay flat. And here's the thing. Some people say profit is a bad word or whatever, which is ridiculous. But profit is what makes your business leverageable. If you're going to keep A players, you're going to need to pay them at the top of the scale, not at the bottom of the scale or the middle of the scale. If you want the good people to stay, you're going to have to be able to pay them. And where do you pay them? From making profits. If you don't make profit, you can't pay them more. They're going to go someplace where they can get paid more. So, why you become the bottleneck is really because your business has grown beyond its initial system. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you have, and I'm thinking of a service industry, you have 5 customers, and now all of a sudden you have 10. And so you've doubled the size of your business in terms of the number of customers you're dealing with, but you lack any kind of structure. And so leadership starts to show its gaps. And because you carry everything in your mind, now you are the bottleneck. So here's the thing, and I want to share this slide. It's called perturbation. And this comes from a study by a scientist who studied why systems change and evolve. So I got to keep my eye on the time here because I do my best to stay under 45 minutes, and rarely do I stay under 45 minutes, but I usually don't go too much longer than that. Anyways, perturbation. Ilya Prigozhin talked about why things need to change. And if you think about a city, the city grows, there's no freeways, you got gridlock and traffic, so it builds a freeway, it releases the pressure. And then it grows some more, and all of a sudden that freeway is full, so they build another freeway, releases the pressure. It's the same in your business. As you create systems and processes in your business, and you hire the right people and you train them and have ongoing training and communication and leadership, you are relieving the pressure that's put on you. Where it says you could actually put your business in there. So if you want your business to grow, you have to evolve the systems and processes. If you don't do that, I'm sorry, it's going to implode at some point and die, whether that's you just completely burn out or you don't make enough money to make it a worthy adventure. So I talk about the real cost. The numbers are all over the place when it comes to business failure. This 96% of business fail, before their 5th year anniversary is based on every business. So that's the solopreneur all the way up to the companies that have multiple team members on their team. If it's companies with let's say 5 or more employees, the failure rate goes down, but it's still like 70% or something to that effect. So that's the cost to you personally. If you don't create these systems and processes, at some point you're going to fail in your business, whether it's you just give up because it's you're just tired, or you're tired of not making a lot of money. And you're really, as it says here in the slide here, you got poor team performance, there's stalled growth in your business, you're trapped in the operations of the business. And I'm going to talk about the time target here later, but so that you know where you should be spending your time, but you're sacrificing all your family and personal time for that. So how do we fix this? Let's get to the solutions here. It all begins right here, and that is to stay above the line, to take ownership, be accountable, be responsible. This is you. You have to accept this as the truth, or I'm sorry, you're going to fail. And here's where the failure begins. It starts with blaming other people or making excuses, or just being in denial. What does that mean? So you blame your team, you blame the economy, you blame the suppliers, you blame your customers, uh, you're going to fail. You're going to fail, period. Excuses. The number one excuse that I hear from business owners is I don't have time. To which I say, bullshit. Sorry, I had to say it. You need to make it a priority, and I'm going to talk about that in the time target. What's important to grow your business? You need to be working on the systems that helps the business grow. And if you blame other people or your tendency to make excuses or you're like denying that anything is wrong, which is, this idea that, as bad as it is, I'm just used to it that way, being that way. But here's the thing. If you want to know if you're somebody who lives below the line, check out your team. Because if your team lives below the line, you live below the line. If you live above the line, your team will live above the line. Below the line, you are the problem. Above the line, you are the solution. So let's keep moving along quickly. So the vision. It's why did you start this business in the first place? I'm assuming it was something you wanted to build because it's something you want to be proud of. That's why I do what I do. It's something that I'm proud of doing. I want to have predictable income, profits. I want to work with accountable people. And I want independence. I don't want to be tied to this business all the time. I want to be able to take time off. Pardon me, so that I can have personal freedom. And you want the same thing. If you didn't, you probably should just go get a job, because you know what? You get a job, you can have vacation built right into your agreement, and you go home at night, you don't have to think about your business. So three things you need to have in every business is a vision for your company in alignment with your team. You need to have accountable leadership. So those people that are at the highest level, team leads, managers, whatever you want to call them, they need to be above the line. And then you need to create scalable systems and processes so that you can create order out of chaos. So these are the three main focuses here: time, team, money. You want to have time freedom, you want to have a great team, and you want to be making profit. So let's talk about time. How you use your time will be a direct reflection of the success that you experience in your life. And I want you to think about the 80-20 rule. If you haven't heard this, look it up online, read about it. It's really important. Basically, what it says is that 80% of the success that you have comes from 20% of what you do. So the other side of that, it means that 80% of what you do only gives you 20%. So if I was to ask you which one is the most important for you to work on, which would you say? Of course, you'd say the 20%. Yes. So that means that 80% needs to be, some of it, probably 20% of it needs to be stopped doing. A big percent of it needs to be outsourced, and the big percentage of it needs delegated to other team members. So let's talk about this time target here for a second. So on the outside of the time target, we got things that are not urgent and they're not important, and they're just distractions in your business. Then we have in the inside ring, we have urgent and not important, and that is the things that are delusional, the activities that you're doing, thinking that they're important, thinking that they're urgent, but they're not important. And here's the thing: if you don't sit down and prioritize what you need to do in order to get what you want to have, everything is going to seem urgent to you. And as I said, that's delusion. So then we have the other ring. It's urgent and important. That's the demand part of your business. And depending on where you're at in your business, this is going to take up a significant amount of your time. But here's the thing: this is where you need to get to, and that's not urgent but important. That's the vision, the mission, the core values of your company, the systems and the processes that make it a duplicatable, repeatable process that creates a certain amount of revenue and profit all the time. Now, where I see most of the time that we can get back from clients is the delusional stuff and the demand stuff. That's where a big portion of your time is being used. We want you to spend more time here. We're going to get you out of this delusional stuff and some of the demand stuff, because you think about it from the perspective of if you're doing a job that pays $25 an hour, you as the business owner, your time is worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per hour. And how you kind of figure that, it's take a number of revenue that you're producing and or profit that you're producing and divide that into approximately 2008 hours, which is a typical number of hours in a year with vacation time taken into consideration. That will tell you what your time is worth. And so you need to hire people to do all those low value jobs, and you need to focus in on growing the business and making it as profitable as possible, which is everything that's in the zone, so to speak. What did I miss there? No, I didn't miss anything. So understand this. I've already talked about this. Your business is made up of a series of systems and processes that are run by people. So you need to have a great team of people. When I talk about team, I use the acronym, which is together, everyone achieves more. It's not like, oh, if I hustle my butt and run around like a chicken with my head cut off and any number of different other superlatives or adjectives, I'm more successful. No, it's together. Everyone achieves more. And that means that if you're going to have a successful, profitable business that can run without you, you need to have a great team of people working with you who are going to be, if they're A players, they're going to want to be paid at the top of the scale. I can think of any number of clients that I've worked with in the past who are paying their people more than they can get paid anywhere else, and yet their profits are some of the highest in their sector, in their industry. And that's because they take seriously on growing this business. And part of the thing is like if you're going to provide a service with people, you got to think, what's the pain? Like if you're a construction person, you're a roofer or an insulator or a drywall contractor or whatever the case may be, what's the pain that you're solving for them? Solve that pain for them and they'll pay you what you're worth. If you don't solve that pain for them and you're part of the problem, yeah, they're not going to pay you what you're worth. Or pardon me, they are going to pay you what you're worth. So winning companies, they know how to get the right people on the bus. Why is this important? Because the cost of a bad hire is astronomical, and it's really can be the difference between success and failure in your business. So you want to hire for attitude first and then aptitude second. Now, I remember somebody saying, "Oh yeah, but they lie on their resumes." Excuse, blame. Uh, but so they say, they lie on their resumes. Your job is to find out before you hire them if they're a liar or if they're lazy or if they're going to show up late all the time. And one of the things I always tell everybody to say when you're interviewing somebody is when I call your previous employer, what are they going to say about you? So you say when, not if I call your employer. It's when, because they're going to go, I got to tell the truth because he's going to call and he's going to find out anyway. So 41% of companies said that bad hire cost them $25,000 and 25% said 50,000. Now that could be related to the positions that they're hired and how much they pay them, but it's in lost productivity, whatever you pay them, the morale that it had on the team as a whole, because it's difficult to grow a profitable business that can run without you when you have a dysfunctional team or you have dysfunctional team members causing upset with everybody else. So any other costs that you incurred to hire them. So people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. Here's a study that was done by Gallup. They surveyed more than 1 million employees. And they said a bad boss or supervisor was the number one reason why they left, and it was due to the environment that the boss created and how it made them feel and how they were treated. Now, I hear this from employers all the time. Oh, they left because they get paid $1 an hour more or $2 or whatever that number is. That's what they told you because they don't want to tell you that you're a terrible boss. That's just a fact. They're not going to say, so why are you leaving? Well, you're a terrible boss. They're going to say, oh, I'm getting paid more because it's easier for them to say that than deal with telling you the truth. So what do people really want? Well, they want a clear path, and a vision and a mission that they can follow. They want to know that their job is stable. They want to know that they're appreciated for what they do. They want to be kept in the communication link, and they want to have fun. And then number six is fairly compensated. And that again is based upon a study by Gallup poll. Fairly compensated obviously is important, but it's number six on the list in terms of how people filled out the surveys. So here's the thing: systemize every routine thing your business does, document it, create training around it, and then train until people can do it in their sleep. Because if you look at this boat, and I use this boat with purpose because anybody that's ever watched sailboat racing, the difference between first and second place is minutes, if not seconds, and it requires that everybody on the team does exactly what they're supposed to do at exactly the right time, and it's not the captain of the boat running around, do this, do that, do this, do that. No, they just know how to do it because they trained. So I use this picture just as a bit of a, what is the word I'm looking for? Indication of what can slow a team down. So this boat has a nice smooth bottom. This one doesn't. So if you have a dysfunctional team, this is what your bottom of your boat is going to look like. You cannot win the race with barnacles all over your team. So create a clear vision, mission, and core values. Align your team to shared goals. And the vision is the big goal, but you can look at saying yearly goals and monthly goals and even weekly goals, depending on the kind of business that you're in. But you need people align with those things, make sure that people feel appreciated, reward people when they do well, reward people when they live to your vision, mission, and core values, because then everybody else will start to do the same thing. And those people that don't, you'll be able to find a different place for them to work. So ownership and purpose across the organization, that's what your vision and alignment does for them. So you need to have an org chart so everybody has their clear roles and responsibilities. You delegate. Sorry, I just read that incorrectly. I changed that and I changed it incorrectly. Delegation of outcomes, not tasks. Oh, sorry, that's anyways, delegation of outcomes, not tasks. You have a system and process that they follow. Leadership development. John Maxwell said in his book, 5 Levels of Leadership. And if you've ever read any books on leadership, this is an important distinction to make, is that you want to have more leaders, not more followers. And I know somebody said to me one time when I said that in a meeting, not everybody can be a leader. Everybody can be a leader. The person sweeping the floor in your shop can be a leader. The person cleaning the offices can be a leader. Well, it's probably somebody outside of your organization, but everybody can show leadership. And you need to have accountability systems so that people know that they're being held accountable. I forget is a study that I read a long time ago when I first started doing this kind of work, is that when people know you're watching, they're going to play at a higher level. So scalable systems and processes. So you got to have standard operating procedures. You need to have KPIs, or key performance indicators and scorecards for everybody on the team. 2 KPIs, maybe 3 at the maximum, never more, because if what gets measured gets better, improves, but if you have too many measurements, then they don't get measured. So and create scorecards, big scorecards, so that people can see what's going on. Effective meeting rhythms. Make sure that, that's what I want to say. Make sure that you're having effective meetings. So it could start with a daily huddle, weekly training, monthly. This is where we're at. I keep forgetting the word that I should use instead. This is where we're at. That's really a review of where you're at in terms of what the goals that you had set out for, and then quarterly planning and yearly planning, and then systems that run without your daily input. Because Systems and processes in a business is what makes the impossible become possible. What am I doing for time? Delegate, not abdicate. This abdication is dumping a task and then disappearing. It's handing off something without clarity, without direction or follow-up, and then being surprised when things go sideways on you. So delegation is the strategic leadership skill. It's about assigning responsibility while maintaining accountability. You give someone the authority to complete the task, but you stay involved enough to support, guide, and ensure the outcomes align with the vision. Okay, let's talk about making some money because that's really important. I talked about that right out of the get-go. One of the reasons why your business won't scale, pardon me, is because you put growth in terms of revenue over top of growth in profits. And profit is sanity. Revenue is vanity. So it really is, profit is the lifeblood of your company, and it's what keeps it growing. It's what keeps it vital. It's what keeps adding value to people's life. So let's take a look at strategically what you need to focus in on are the things that are in blue. So number of leads, conversion rate, number of transactions, average dollar sale, and profit margins. So you've got to be measuring what's your conversion rate. So that would be like if you own a retail shoe store, for instance, how many people came into the store and how many people actually bought something would be your conversion rate. If you're a roofing company and somebody calls you and wants a roofing quote, how many people called for quotes and how many people actually did business with you is your conversion rate. So this is the first thing you want to focus in on, is your conversion rate. Because if you're getting lots of leads and your conversion rate is low, work on improving your conversion rate. Get better sales training, create more sales systems and processes to increase that conversion rate, because that gives you the number of customers. Then you want to work on your your average dollar sale, which is, how you add value. So I think I always use this as a great example, because if you've ever done a job, painting project in your home, and you go to the paint store and you go, I need a can of paint, I need a brush, or whatever the case may be. And then you buy what you asked for and nobody offered you anything more. You get home and you go, oh man, I could have used one of these. I could have used one of those. So while they're mixing the paint up, they should hand you a document that says, hey, just to make your painting project smoother at home, this are some of the things that customers who are doing painting projects buy. So they might buy edgers, they might buy tape, they might buy drop cloths, they might buy roller, small roller, big roller, whatever that might be, but it's always something that adds on to the sale, that adds value to the customer. Now, number of transactions is how you get people to come back more often. So, doing that in a paint store, guess what? The next time they're going to do a painting project around their home, what are they going to do? They're going to come back to you because of the way that you treated them and the fact that they got everything they needed to do to complete the project. And then profit margins, of course, is what's your profit margin. It doesn't really matter at this point when you think about this formula, whether that's net profit or gross profit. It's just the power of understanding this formula first. So strategically, you want to look at, geez, we have a terrible conversion rate. We need to work on our conversion rate. Or, you know what, we don't get many leads, but we convert most of the people that we do talk to. So strategically, we need to look at how do we address getting more leads. Gee, we get people that come back once and they never come back or recommend or refer us to anybody else. So then you're going to say, how do we improve that part of the process? Or, geez, we have a really low average dollar sale. Let's focus in on doing that. And I would look at this as being, you do this in a quarter. You don't want to try to do everything all at once, because you try to do everything all at once, you're going to do nothing. So pick one or pick two of these and build a system and process, and then follow that system and process until you know what you're getting in terms of your results. So let's take a look at what this looks like so that you can get a look at what the power of this equation, understanding this equation, and then looking at things strategically. And again, remember, if you're a company that does a lot of transactions in a month. So I worked with a small business owner that had a gas station and a car wash and a convenience store. And so they did something like 13,000 transactions in a month. And so we really just focused in on one of the strategies for a quarter was to increase their average dollar sale, which we increased it by $2.47 if my memory is correct. But you can do the math, 13,000 times $2.47 to see the power of that. Now, you might be a real estate salesperson, or you might be a car salesperson, or you might be a heavy equipment salesperson, or whatever. Whatever it is that you sell, you got to look at which one of these can I have the most impact in my business. So let's take a look at the power of this thing when you do just a 10% increase in each one of those. So we went from 4,000 to 4,400. We went conversion rate from 25% to 27.5. We went from 1,000 to 1,210. Number of transactions, again, these are averages. So that's why they're why you see 2.2. So the number of transactions is 2.2 versus 2, and we sell them $110 instead of $100. So instead of 200,000, it's $292,820. And we worked on buying better, being more efficient, whatever that case may be. So our profit margins grew by 2.5%. So instead of 50,000, we made $80,525. So how many of you could use with an extra $30,000 in your business or in your back pocket? So that's a 47% increase in your revenue and a 61% increase in your profits. Okay. Just to go back before I move on is to say, look at this strategically. Which is most important is going to have, pardon me, the biggest impact for your business. So productivity is maximum results with a minimum amount of time. Leverage is a maximum productivity with a minimum amount of effort. Sorry. So you want to look at creating systems and processes so that you can have more leverage in your company, so you can maximize the productivity. Okay. So I have some different opportunities for you. One is the 90-day Scale Insanity Accelerator that doesn't start until 2026, the beginning of the new year. It's going to start with a 90-day planning session. It's going to be, I'm going to do a combination of an online one as well as a live one for those people who live here in Edmonton. This 90-day accelerator is a 3-month group program. They're bi-weekly sessions. You get all the done-for-you tools. You get private support from the group, a full level of accountability through the group, as well as networking and a supportive group. So, 90 days, Scale Insanity Accelerator. Scale your business without burning out. Pardon me, I should have changed the date here. It's going to start in January, and I'll have a firm date by then. So, and the other thing is, I also have an online course. It's basically tied around this the same lessons that I'm going to do in the 90-day accelerator, and it's called the Scale Up Business Performance System. They're all tied or built around the Scale Up Business Performance System. But the goal here is to provide you with tools that are going to help you excel. So if you're doing, say, million and a half or less, I would buy the course online. It's just $9.95. It's going to take a while to get through. There's sort of 10 pillars, but there's 22 lessons in there. And you get video lessons, you get all of the worksheets and spreadsheets so that you can build all these systems, and guaranteed that your business will be completely different after you complete that course. Now, why if you do that, why would I need to go to group coaching? Is because, first of all, the working together with another group of like-minded people holding each other accountable will help you accelerate that process and also go further and more profitable in when you're working with a group of people, it really becomes about the community, and those people are working together to do something extraordinary. And I say this is very, very importantly, it takes the same amount of energy to do something ordinary as it does to do something extraordinary. And so from the group coaching, that this is just for people who are really wanting to move forward and move fast and grow big and do extraordinary things. We also have one-to-one coaching. And then beyond that, and you got to work your way through this process. We have mastermind, which would be those people are at the highest level, and they really want to do something, like I said, extraordinary. So thanks for listening. We got 45 minutes exactly. Again, my name is Laurie McNaughton. I am your scale up business coach. And after 20 years of doing this kind of work, I have created this scale up business performance system that you can use in your business. Very systematic approach to growing a business and building it so that you can scale up without burning out. So you'll see in the description, there's a link. You can, I'll put different links in there. There's a link for booking a meeting with me, and there's also a link for joining our Monday Momentum, which is a free community where we just kickstart our Mondays with a little bit of energy and enthusiasm and passion. So with that being said, I want to stop the share. I want to thank you all for coming. Whoops, there we go. Empowering growth and transforming lives. This is what it's all about, my friends. Let's make a difference. Let's do something that's going to really transform our own lives, but also to transform the lives of people who we really, really, really care about. Zig Ziglar said, if you want to have everything that you want in life, help other people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. With that said, have yourself an awesome day. I look forward to the opportunity of being of service with you one day soon. Take care. Bye.